My name is Rami Khouri. I'm a Palestinian journalist, a writer, and I'm the director of the Issam Faris Public Policy Institute at the American University of Beirut. I think the most important message that I would like to convey is that journalists in the Western world, but everywhere, should look at the Middle East and cover it in the nuance, in the complexity that the people of the Middle East see themselves in. That they shouldn't look at the Middle East from the far away and just look at Israelis and Palestinians, or terrorism, or oil, or extremism, or Islamic this and that, which is what's going on now. But look at the Middle East and say there's 350 million Arabs here. Most of them are living normal lives. There's amazing stuff going on in their day-to-day life, growth, modernization, innovation, and there's criminal things and bad things, but to look at a story and cover it in its totality with the nuance, with the accuracy, with the gradations that come with any story. Because the Arab world, in American eyes, has been completely hijacked by 3 or 4 things consecutively: the Cold War, the Arab-Israeli conflict, oil, and then terrorism. Those 4 things, one after the other, have skewed the coverage because they've completely skewed the way that the U.S. government and therefore American culture and society look at the Arab world or the Middle East. And therefore they only look at these issues and don't look at everything else. It's as if people were trying to report about, say, African Americans, and all they wrote about was basketball players and not about any other aspect, or African Americans in jail, which there are, and there are African American basketball players, but there's also millions of other African Americans who are normal people who don't do either of those things. So that's the kind of distortion you get by focusing on the sensational, the dramatic, the frightening, the strange, the unknown things, and ignoring the overwhelming majority of people who really make up this incredible story. Well, I think that's more or less the same thing I'm saying, that there's several hundred million ordinary middle-class people, lower income, upper income, whatever, but normal people who are not driven by either Islamic zealotry or Arab nationalist fervor, who are not terrorists, who are not illegal immigrants, who are not flag burners, who don't hate Christians and Jews and Americans and white Europeans, and who are just absolutely normal people who are working hard, send their kids to school, find a job, build a house, get married, have kids, and do the same thing over and over and over again. And these are people whose ideology is simply to live a normal, decent life and to be treated decently by their own governments. When they're not given a chance to live a normal, decent life, they do what they're doing now, which is they rebel. They have a revolt, and they have an insurrection, a citizen revolt against the autocrats and the dictators and the subjugators and the corrupt people who have been running so much of the Arab world for the last 40, 50 years. And therefore, it's correct, I think, to say that the overwhelming majority of Arab people are not ideologically inclined. They want to have a normal life, but if they're not allowed to have a normal life, they then get pulled in different directions. Islamist movements, left-wing communist movements, Arab nationalist movements, whatever. And a few of them become terrorists here and there.